The fusion core exploded again, sending sparks through the corridor. Ralna pressed her 4 hands against the wall and tried not to panic. Panic would not save her crew. Panic would not fix the ship. Panic would only make everything worse. "How long do we have?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear crawling up her spine. Priya's 6 limbs worked frantically across 3 different control panels at once. The Chitari engineer was the best in the fleet, but even the best could not fix what was already broken beyond repair. 6 hours. Maybe 7 if we shut down everything except life support. 6 hours. Ralna looked at the view screen where the yellow star burned bright and steady. Sol. The humans called it Sol. According to their outdated navigation charts, this system housed a protected world called Earth. Protected meant primitive. Protected meant they had no space travel, no advanced technology, no way to help a dying ship full of desperate aliens. But they had no choice. Brent, set course for the 3rd planet. Maximum stealth approach. Ralna watched her first officer's massive form shift in his chair. The Turvash looked like a bear that someone had taught to walk upright and given a uniform. His thick fur was matted with sweat and coolant fluid from the emergency repairs they had all been doing for 3 days straight. "Captain, that violates 17 different Federation protocols. First contact procedures alone require—" "I know what it requires." Ralna cut him off, not unkindly. "I also know we have 47 crew members who will die if we do not find help. The Horgoth raiders made sure of that when they ambushed us." The crew went silent. Everyone remembered the attack. Everyone remembered watching their sister ship, the Daybreak, get torn apart by plasma fire. They had barely escaped, and only because their navigator had made a blind jump into unknown space. That jump had saved them from the raiders but destroyed half their systems in the process. "Entering the system now," Brent said quietly. "Stealth fields are holding. Barely." Ralna studied the scanner displays. Thousands of objects orbited the planet. Satellites, probably. The database said Earth had only launched their first satellite 80 years ago. Surely they could not have built thousands in such a short time. Unless the database was wrong. Unless everything they thought they knew about humans was completely outdated. "Captain, I am picking up something strange." Lorne's voice cracked with nervousness. The young Polarian medical officer had only graduated 6 months ago. This was supposed to be a simple patrol route, a safe assignment for someone fresh out of academy. Instead, he had spent 3 days treating radiation burns and plasma injuries with dwindling medical supplies. "Define strange," Ralna said. "Those satellites, they are not just satellites. Some of them are construction platforms, big ones, and those structures near the moon, I think they are shipyards." Priya abandoned her repair efforts long enough to check the sensors. Her antennae twitched in confusion. "That is impossible. Our last intelligence report was only 80 years old. They were barely achieving orbital flight. They should not have industrial space infrastructure for another 200 years at least." "Well, they do." Brent zoomed in on one of the structures. It was huge, easily 3 times the size of any Federation shipyard. Docking bays lined its surface like honeycomb cells. And unless I am reading these signatures wrong, those are active fusion reactors powering it. Clean ones too, cleaner than ours. A chill ran through Ralna's body. What had they stumbled into? What if Earth was not protected because they were primitive? What if Earth was protected for entirely different reasons? "Captain, we are being scanned." Priya's voice went high with alarm. Multiple targeting locks. High-energy weapons charging. I count 12, no, 15 separate sources. They just appeared out of nowhere. Impossible. Our sensors would have detected. The view screen flickered. 15 vessels materialized around them like ghosts becoming solid. They were sleek and dangerous looking, covered in angles that would deflect sensors and weapons fire. Ralna had never seen ship designs like these. They did not match any known species in the database. "They have cloaking technology," Brent whispered. "Actual functional cloaking technology. The Federation has been trying to develop that for 300 years. "Incoming transmission," Lorne said, his hands shaking over the communications console. "Put it through." A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect galactic standard with a strange accent. "Unidentified vessel, you are leaking radiation into our orbital space. Cut your engines and prepare to be tractored to Repair Station Galileo. Coffee will be provided." Ralna stared at the view screen. Coffee? What was coffee? And why did this unknown military force sound so casual about capturing a foreign vessel? This is Captain Ralna of the Federation scout ship Meridian. We mean no harm. Our ship was damaged in a raider attack. We came seeking shelter and possibly raw materials for emergency repairs. We did not know this system was inhabited by a spacefaring species. A pause. Then the voice came back, and now it sounded almost amused. Yeah, we get that a lot. The Federation database is pretty out of date. Look, your ship is falling apart and cooking your crew with radiation. Let us help. We can argue about protocols and regulations after everyone is safe and healthy. Deal? Brent looked at Ralna. Priya looked at Ralna. Even young Lorne turned his wide eyes toward her, waiting for orders. What choice did they have? Stay here and die? Or trust these unknown humans who spoke casually about helping while pointing weapons at them? Deal, Ralna said. Great, extending tractor beam now. Fair warning, it might feel a bit weird. Just relax and let us bring you in. Oh, and seriously, someone get medical ready. Your ship's radiation levels are way higher than anything biological should tolerate. How are you people even still conscious? The ship shuddered as invisible forces gripped it, gentle but firm, and began pulling them toward the massive orbital station. Through the view screen, Ralna watched Earth grow larger. A blue and white marble that looked peaceful and beautiful and absolutely nothing like the primitive backwater their database had promised. She had made first contact with an unknown species. She had violated protocols that had stood for centuries. She had gambled her crew's lives on the mercy of strangers. And somehow, impossibly, the strangers were offering coffee. Priya had seen many things in her 12 years as an engineer. She had rebuilt engines mid-flight. She had patched hull breaches with nothing but spare parts and determination. She had once kept a ship running for 6 days on a power system that should have failed in 6 hours. But she had never seen anything like this. The humans moved through the meridian like water flowing around rocks. They did not ask permission. They did not wait for authorization. They simply arrived with their tools and equipment and started fixing things. One human, a young woman with dark skin and bright eyes, had taken one look at the fusion core and said, "Oh yeah, I see the problem. Give me 20 minutes, 20 minutes. The part that was broken should have taken 3 weeks to replace. And that was if they had the replacement part. Which they did not. Excuse me, Priya said, trying to be polite while also being completely confused. That component requires specialized manufacturing. You cannot simply fabricate one in 20 minutes. The human woman who had introduced herself as engineer Danny Okonkwo grinned at her. Watch me, and then she did. Right there in the engine room, she pulled out a device that looked like a large box with a screen on it. She scanned the broken component, made some adjustments on the screen, and the box started humming. 10 minutes later, it produced a perfect replacement part. Portable molecular fabricator, Danny explained, already installing the new component. We use them for field repairs. Why, how do you folks do emergency replacements? We put in a request form. Then we wait for the part to be shipped from the nearest supply depot. Then we install it. The entire process takes approximately 23 days. Danny stopped working and stared at her. 23 days? For a simple fusion regulator, that is the most inefficient thing I have ever heard. That is proper procedure. That is a great way to die waiting for paperwork. Danny went back to work, her hands moving with practiced efficiency. Done, fire it up and let us see if she purrs. Priya activated the fusion core. It came online smoothly, running at 97% efficiency. Better than it had run in months. She felt her antennae droop in shock. This should not be possible. Yeah, we hear that a lot too. Danny patted the fusion core like it was a pet. Your ship is pretty solid, just outdated. Once we get you fully repaired, I want to show you some modifications that will boost your efficiency by at least 40%. If you are interested, I mean. No pressure. In the medical bay, Lorne was having his own crisis of understanding. The human doctor, Rachel Abrams, had taken one look at his medical setup and immediately started bringing in new equipment. Equipment that could scan any species, analyze any biology, and adjust treatment automatically. How do you have xenobiology data for species you have never met? Lorne asked, watching the scanner identify Polarian physiology with perfect accuracy. We got curious after first contact with the Federation, traded for medical databases, studied everything we could find, and then developed adaptive systems. Rachel smiled at him, the kind of warm smile that made people feel safe. Medicine should not be limited by what we already know. It should adapt to what we need to learn. She handed him a small device. Here, this is a portable medical scanner. It works on any biology. Consider it a gift. A gift? But this technology must be worth a fortune. Knowledge is only valuable if you share it. Besides, you are going to need it. From what I am seeing, your crew has been through something traumatic. Radiation exposure, stress injuries, and at least half of them are dealing with shock. They need treatment, and I am betting your supplies were running low. Lorne felt his throat tighten. She was right. He had been rationing medical supplies for 2 days, trying to make them last, knowing they would not be enough. "Thank you," he said quietly. Up on the main deck, Ralna was being escorted through the repair station by Director Liu, a human woman who seemed to be in charge of this entire massive facility. The director wore simple work clothes, nothing fancy or formal, and she walked fast while talking faster. "So your ship needs a new power distribution network, hull reinforcement in sections 4 through 9, and a complete sensor array replacement. My team says about 8 hours for the major work, maybe another 6 for the detail stuff. You and your crew should rest. We have guest quarters set up, food that should be compatible with your biology, and plenty of coffee if you want to try it." "Director Liu, I must be honest with you. We cannot pay for these repairs. Our ship's emergency funds would not cover even a fraction of this work. We are essentially asking for charity." Liu stopped walking and turned to face her. "Captain, your ship was shot to pieces by raiders while on patrol, protecting trade routes that benefit everyone. You limped here hoping to find scraps that might keep you alive a few more days. And you think we are going to charge you for helping? What kind of people do you think we are?" "I think you are people I do not understand." "Fair enough." Liu started walking again. "Let me explain how Earth works. We spent our entire history fighting each other over resources and territory and stupid differences. Then we got to space and realized how big the universe actually is, how much is out there, how many problems we all face together. We decided to stop being stupid. Help first, worry about payment later. Usually people pay us back by helping someone else. It works out." They passed a window that looked out over the construction bays. Ralna saw her ship being carefully pulled into a massive repair dock. Human workers swarmed over it, already stripping away damaged sections and preparing new materials. "What is that?" Ralna pointed at another section where rows of sleek, dangerous-looking ships sat in perfect formation. Liu followed her gaze, and her expression shifted slightly. "Those just some vessels we keep on hand. For emergencies. They look like warships. They are multi-purpose. Patrol, rescue, exploration. That kind of thing." Liu's tone suggested this was not a topic she wanted to discuss in detail. "Come on, let me show you the quarters. You look like you have not slept in days." Ralna followed, but her mind was racing. The humans had cloaking technology. They had fabrication technology that could create complex components in minutes. They had medical systems centuries ahead of Federation standard. And they had warships. Lots of warships. Earth was not a protected primitive world. Earth was something else entirely. Something that the Federation had completely misunderstood. And that thought was terrifying. Brent had consumed 3 cups of coffee and decided humans were either geniuses or insane. Possibly both. The liquid was bitter and dark and made his heart race in a way that felt dangerous and exciting at the same time. He wanted more. "You are sure this is not a drug?" he asked Director Liu, who sat across from him in the station's dining area. "Oh, it is absolutely a drug. We are just very casual about it." Liu sipped her own coffee and smiled. "Caffeine, stimulant, helps us stay awake and focused. Most humans consume it daily. Your species regularly drugs itself for productivity? When you put it that way, it sounds bad. We prefer to think of it as chemical motivation." Liu set down her cup and leaned back. "But you wanted to know about Earth, about why we are the way we are. So let me tell you a story." She pulled up a holographic display that showed Earth rotating slowly. Beautiful blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown continents. It looked peaceful, harmless. "This is our home. Looks nice, right?" Wrong. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. That means out of every 100 planets that can support life, Earth is in the top 12 most dangerous ones. Ralna, who had joined them along with Priya and Lorne, leaned forward. "Dangerous how?" "Dangerous in every way." Liu expanded the display, showing images that made the entire group go silent. "Our gravity is 1.4 times what the Federation considers standard. Our atmosphere is 23% oxygen, which most species consider a fire hazard. Our weather systems regularly produce storms with winds strong enough to destroy buildings. We have earthquakes that reshape continents. volcanoes that can alter global climate, and that is just the non-living threats. More images appeared. Creatures with claws and teeth, tiny organisms invisible to the eye, plants that could kill with a touch. Our biosphere spent 4 billion years in an arms race with itself. Everything evolved to kill or avoid being killed. We have predators that can run faster than most Federation ground vehicles. We have diseases that can wipe out entire populations. We have insects that drink blood and plants that eat flesh. Lauren looked genuinely horrified. And your species survived this? Not just survived, thrived, we had to. Earth did not give us a choice. We evolved to heal fast, to adapt faster, to think our way out of problems that would kill anything else. We learned to work together because alone we died. Liu pulled up an image of early humans, primitive and vulnerable looking. These were our ancestors. No claws, no armor, no venom, just big brains and stubborn determination. They walked out of Africa and conquered every environment on the planet. Deserts, jungles, frozen wastelands, mountains everywhere. Danny, who had finished the repair work and joined them, added her own perspective. This is why we work so fast. On Earth, if you are slow, you die. If your tools break, you fix them immediately or you die. If you get injured, you heal quickly or you die. That urgency got built into our culture. We do not wait. We cannot afford to. Priya was studying the data with her engineer's eye for detail. Your gravity. That explains why you can lift equipment that requires 3 of us. You grew up carrying 1.4 times more weight than we consider normal. Exactly. What feels heavy to you feels normal to us. What feels normal to you feels light. Danny flexed her arm. Human muscles adapted to high gravity and high oxygen. We are stronger and have more endurance than most species our size. Not because we are special. Just because Earth demanded it. Ralna thought about the human workers she had seen, moving heavy repair equipment like it weighed nothing. She thought about Danny fabricating complex parts in minutes because waiting meant death. She thought about Dr. Abrams, whose medical systems could handle any biology because humans had learned to adapt to thousands of deadly diseases. This explains your technology, Ralna said slowly. You advanced so quickly because you had to. Because your world kept trying to kill you and you had to innovate or die. Pretty much. Liu finished her coffee. We achieved industrial revolution while fighting plagues and famines. We developed computers while recovering from wars. We reached space while our planet was actively hostile to us. Every step forward was earned through necessity and desperation and the refusal to give up. But you are so helpful, Lauren said quietly. You have all this power, all this capability, and you use it to repair our ship for free. Why? The humans exchanged looks. Finally, Rachel spoke up. Because we remember what it is like to be vulnerable. We spent our entire existence barely surviving. Humans know what it feels like to be desperate and afraid and in need of help. So when someone shows up damaged and scared, we help. It is that simple. Nothing is that simple, Brent said, though his voice was gentle. Maybe not. Liu stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the Meridian sat in its repair dock, looking better than it had in years. Human crews worked on it with care and precision. But we decided something important when we reached the stars. We decided that just because we can be dangerous does not mean we have to be cruel. We have the strength to hurt people. We choose to use that strength to protect them instead. She turned back to face them. Earth made us tough. Earth made us adaptable. Earth made us survivors. But we chose to be kind. That part is on us. Ralna felt something shift in her understanding. These humans were not just technologically advanced. They were not just physically capable. They had taken all the violence and danger and death of their world and transformed it into strength used for others. I think, Ralna said carefully, that the Federation has made a serious mistake in its assessment of humanity. Liu smiled. Yeah, we have been trying to tell them that. They keep sending us forms to fill out. We keep ignoring them and doing our own thing. It works out. Outside the window, Earth continued its slow rotation, beautiful and deadly and home to the most terrifyingly kind species in the galaxy. The alarm system activated with a sound that made everyone stop talking. Lorne dropped his medical scanner. Priya's antennae went rigid with shock. Brent reached for a weapon he was not carrying because they were guests on a civilian station. Only the humans remained calm. Too calm. Director Liu picked up her communicator without any visible concern. Liu here. What is the situation? A voice came through, male and efficient. Emergency broadcast from Federation Command. Horgath raiders have broken through the Outer Rim defenses, multiple colonies under attack. They are calling for any available military vessels to rally at Point Theta. Ralna stood up so fast her chair fell over. My ship, we have to go. We have to help. Captain, your ship just got patched together 8 hours ago. You have 47 crew members who are exhausted and traumatized. You are in no condition to fight. Liu's voice was gentle but firm. Then we die trying. That is what we do. That is what the Federation expects. Well, Earth has different expectations. Liu tapped her communicator. Admiral Park, are you hearing this? Already on it. Mobilizing the Third Fleet now. Estimated deployment in 90 minutes. The room went silent. Brent found his voice first. The what? Liu stood and gestured for them to follow. Come with me. You should probably see this. They walked through corridors that suddenly seemed different. Panels in the walls slid open to reveal weapon systems. Civilian workers stepped aside as military personnel in combat gear jogged past. The entire station was transforming from a peaceful repair facility into something else entirely. They reached an observation deck and Ralna felt her 3 hearts skip multiple beats. Ships. Hundreds of ships. They appeared from nowhere, emerging from cloak or dropping from higher orbits. Sleek warships painted in dark colors that seemed to absorb light. Each one bristled with weapons and moved with predatory grace. How many? Priya whispered. The Third Fleet has 340 vessels. A new voice spoke from behind them. They turned to see a human woman in military uniform. Her gray-streaked hair pulled back, her posture radiating authority. I am Admiral Christine Park. I command Earth's defensive operations. Earth has defensive operations? Ralna could not process what she was seeing. You are not even a Federation member. You made first contact only 20 years ago. How do you have fleets? Multiple fleets? Park walked to the window and looked out at the assembling warships with something like pride. Captain, let me tell you what happened when humanity reached the stars. We were excited, hopeful, ready to meet new friends and explore the galaxy. Then we learned the galaxy is dangerous, full of raiders and pirates and hostile species. We learned the Federation is stretched thin, trying to protect thousands of worlds with insufficient resources. She turned to face them. We also learned that Earth is valuable. Strategic location, rich resources, and a species that can manufacture advanced technology, the kind of things that attract the wrong kind of attention. So we made a decision. We would not rely on others to protect us. We would protect ourselves. And if we were building a defense fleet anyway, we might as well build it big enough to help our neighbors too. 340 ships is not a defense fleet. That is an invasion force. Brent's voice held equal parts awe and concern. Context matters. The Horgath raiders operate in groups of 30 to 50 ships. A proper response requires overwhelming force to minimize casualties on both sides. Quick, decisive action saves lives. Park pulled up a tactical display. The Third Fleet will jump to Point Theta and engage the raiders. The First and Second Fleets are already moving to cut off their retreat routes. The Fourth Fleet is deploying to defend vulnerable colonies. The Fifth Fleet remains here to protect Sol System and serve as reserve. Priya did the math in her head and felt dizzy. You have over 1,000 warships. We have infrastructure to defend. We take that seriously. Park looked at Ralna. Captain, I am offering you a choice. Your ship is repaired and upgraded with human technology. You can take your crew and leave. Go somewhere safe. No one would blame you. Or you can join the Third Fleet as a liaison officer. Help us coordinate with Federation forces. Show us how you fight so we can fight alongside you. Ralna thought about her crew, about everything they had been through, about the easy choice to run and the hard choice to stay. What upgrades did you give my ship? Danny stepped forward, excited to talk about her work. New power distribution system, military-grade shields, enhanced weapons targeting, improved engines, and a quantum communication array. Your ship is now tougher, faster, and hits harder than anything in its class. Maybe anything in 2 classes above it. And you just gave us this technology? For free? We gave you the tools to protect yourself and others. That seems like a good investment. Park smiled slightly. Besides, consider it payment for what you are about to do for us. We have never fought alongside Federation forces before. We need someone who knows their tactics and can help us coordinate. That someone is you. Ralna looked at her crew. Brent nodded immediately, always ready for a fight. Priya looked nervous but determined. Lorne was terrified but trying to be brave. They had come to Earth expecting nothing and received everything. How could they not return the favor? We will join you, all of us. Whatever you need. Outstanding. Park activated her communicator. All ships, this is Admiral Park. We have a Federation liaison joining us. Captain Ralna of the Meridian will be coordinating with Federation forces at Point Theta. Treat her ship as one of our own. Protection protocols apply. Understood? A chorus of acknowledgements came back. Hundreds of human voices confirming they would protect the small alien ship with the same ferocity they protected their own. Ralna felt something warm in her chest. Something that felt like hope. Thank you. Thank us by keeping up. We move fast. Park grinned. And Captain? Welcome to humanity's idea of helping. It involves a lot of firepower. Outside the window, the Third Fleet finished assembling. 340 warships ready to jump across the galaxy to defend people they had never met. Because that was what humans did. That was what Earth had decided it would be. Protectors. Reality twisted and bent as the Third Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. One moment, empty space. The next moment, 340 warships materialized in perfect formation around Point Theta. What they found was chaos. Refugee ships, dozens of them, limped through space-trailing debris and atmosphere. Their distress signals filled every channel with screams for help. Horgath raiders swarmed around them like predators circling wounded prey. Federation defense ships tried to hold a perimeter, but they were outnumbered and falling back, their formations broken, their shields failing. Ralna watched from the bridge of the human flagship where Admiral Park had invited her to observe. The tactical display showed a disaster in progress. Civilian ships dying, military vessels overwhelmed. Colonies burning on nearby worlds. Park did not hesitate. All ships engage immediately. Priority targets are any raiders firing on civilian vessels. Wildcard Squadron, clear that asteroid field and hit them from the flank. Medical frigates move to assist damaged friendlies. Authorization to ignore all engagement protocols. We save lives first. The Third Fleet moved like a living thing. Ships broke formation and accelerated to speeds that made Ralna's tactical training scream in protest. They were moving too fast. They would overshoot their targets. They would lose coordination. Except they did not. Human pilots flew like they were born in vacuum. They dodged debris, threaded through weapons fire, and executed maneuvers that should have torn their ships apart from the G-forces alone. Ralna remembered what Liu had said about Death World reflexes. She was seeing it in action now. The Horgath raiders noticed the new arrivals and adjusted their tactics. They were experienced fighters, veterans of 100 raids. They knew how to handle Federation ships with their predictable defensive formations. They spread out, tried to divide the human forces, attempted to use their numerical advantage. Then the humans did something the Horgath had never seen before. They ignored the numerical advantage entirely. Wildcard Squadron reporting. We count 30 raiders in the asteroid field. Permission to engage? You have 12 ships, Wildcard. The smart play is to wait for backup. Admiral, we both know we are not here to make smart plays. We are here to make effective ones. Park actually laughed. Fair enough. Light them up. Ralna watched in amazement as 12 human fighters dove into an asteroid field that any sane pilot would avoid. They used the asteroids as cover, as weapons, as terrain to be exploited. They flew in ways that broke every rule of space combat, and somehow, impossibly, it worked. The raiders tried to follow and found themselves crashing into asteroids or losing track of targets that appeared and disappeared behind cover. The human fighters picked them off one by one with precise weapons fire. Within 6 minutes, all 30 raiders were disabled or destroyed. Wildcard Squadron emerged with minor damage and immediately moved to engage the next group. How are they doing that? Brent asked from the Meridian's bridge, his voice coming through the communication link. High G tolerance from Death World evolution, enhanced reflexes, and absolutely no fear of death, Park answered casually. Also, our pilots train in simulated asteroid fields for fun. They think it is entertaining. Across the battlefield, the pattern repeated. Human ships did not fight like Federation vessels. They did not hold formations. They did not follow standard tactical doctrine. They fought like Earth had taught them to fight. Fast, aggressive, and with complete disregard for what was supposed to be possible. A Federation cruiser, badly damaged and venting atmosphere, sent out a final distress call. 3 Horgath ships moved in for the kill. Before Ralna could even process what was happening, 5 human vessels appeared between the cruiser and the raiders. They took the weapons fire on their own shields, returned fire with devastating accuracy, and then extended docking tubes to the damaged cruiser. Medical teams boarding now. We have you. Just hold together a little longer. The human captain's voice was calm, like she rescued dying ships every day. Maybe she did. Brent found himself in the middle of the action when a Horgath boarding pod attached to the Meridian's hull. For a moment, fear froze his entire crew. Then Danny's voice came through the intercom. Oh, hell no. Not my ship, Priya. Vent that section on my mark. They repelled the boarders using tactics Danny had apparently learned from human combat drills. Aggressive, unexpected, and extremely effective. When it was over, Brent stood in the corridor, surrounded by unconscious Horgath raiders, and realized he had just survived his first boarding action using human methods. People are insane, he said into his communicator. We get that a lot, Danny replied cheerfully. Now help me drag these idiots to the brig. I want to ask them some questions about their ship designs. Maybe they have some ideas we can steal. The battle lasted 3 hours. By human standards, that was too long. By Federation standards, it was impossibly short for an engagement of this size. The Horgath commander finally realized he was not fighting the Federation. He was fighting something new. Something that did not follow the rules. Something that hit harder and moved faster, and absolutely refused to let civilians die. Unidentified fleet. We demand to know your species identity. Park opened a channel that broadcast to every ship in the system. We are from Earth, we are humans, and we protect our neighbors. This is not your jurisdiction. This is Federation space. One funny thing about that. We do not care about jurisdiction. We care about people getting hurt. You are hurting people. We are making you stop. It is very simple. You cannot defeat us. We have reinforcements coming, so do we. The 1st and 2nd fleets are already at your retreat coordinates. The 4th fleet is defending the colonies you plan to raid next. You have no retreat. You have no reinforcements coming. You have a choice. Surrender for trial or get eliminated right here. I will give you 30 seconds to decide. 23 seconds later, the Horgath fleet powered down their weapons and sent surrender codes. Ralna sat on the flagship bridge and tried to process what she had witnessed. 3 hours ago there was a disaster. Now there was order. Refugee ships were being escorted to safety. Damaged vessels were under repair. The raiders were captured, and the humans were already organizing relief supplies for the attacked colonies. Is it always like this? She asked Park quietly. Pretty much. We see a problem, we fix it. We move on to the next problem. Earth did not teach us to accept failure. Park looked at her tactical display with satisfaction. Though I have to say, having Federation coordination helped. Your intel on Horgath tactics was extremely useful. Admiral, we received intelligence from the captured command ships. There is something you need to see. Park pulled up the data and her expression shifted from satisfaction to concern. Well, that explains a lot. 3 weeks had passed since Point Theta. 3 weeks of debriefings and reports and formal inquiries. 3 weeks of Federation officials trying to understand how Earth had deployed over 1,000 warships without anyone noticing. 3 weeks of paperwork that made Ralna want to scream. Now she stood in Station Galileo's main conference hall wearing a new uniform with new rank insignia. The promotion had come through official channels this time, along with a new assignment. Permanent liaison officer between Earth and the Federation. Her job was to make sure what happened at Point Theta became standard procedure rather than a one-time miracle. The hall was packed. Federation dignitaries in formal robes, human officials in their practical suits, representatives from 23 different species, all of whom had ships that had been saved by the 3rd Fleet. Media drones floated everywhere, recording everything for billions of viewers across the galaxy. Admiral Park stood at the podium receiving the Federation's highest military honor. She accepted it with grace and then immediately gave a speech that made half the Federation officials uncomfortable and the other half thoughtful. I accept this on behalf of every human who served at Point Theta, but I also accept it with a challenge. The Federation is stretched too thin. You have thousands of worlds to protect and not enough ships to do it. You follow procedures that prioritize protocol over results. And you have forgotten that the purpose of military force is not to win battles. It is to protect people. She paused, looking out at the assembled crowd. Earth offers a partnership. We will share our technology. We will coordinate our fleets. We will train together and fight together. But in exchange, the Federation needs to remember why it exists. not to maintain order, to keep people safe. If we can agree on that, then we have a foundation to build something better. The speech caused arguments that would last for months, but it also caused agreements that would last for generations. Later, in a quieter ceremony, Director Liu received her own recognition. Coordinator of the Joint Defense Initiative, a new program that would combine human rapid response capability with Federation experience and infrastructure. She accepted it while drinking coffee and making jokes about needing a bigger station. Ralna found herself back in the observation lounge, where this had all started. The view was the same. Earth rotating below, beautiful and deadly, but now she understood what she was looking at. Not a primitive world, not even just an advanced civilization, but a species that had taken all the cruelty of their evolution and transformed it into kindness, backed by unstoppable force. "You should be proud," Brent said, joining her with his own coffee. The Turvash had become completely addicted to the stuff. "You made first contact that changed everything. I got lost and desperate and stumbled into something I did not understand. And then you made the smart choice to trust them. That counts." Priya appeared, moving with the confident grace of someone who had spent 3 weeks learning human engineering secrets. She was heading to Luna tomorrow to join a joint research team. "The humans are sharing everything," she said, wonder still in her voice. "Their fabrication technology, their shield systems, their quantum communications. Everything. They keep saying that knowledge only matters if you spread it. They also keep saying that caffeine solves all problems," Brent added. "I am not convinced that is scientifically accurate," says the person on his 4th cup today, Priya teased. Lorne was the last to arrive, looking healthier than he had in months. His time with Dr. Abrams had taught him more about emergency medicine than 3 years at Academy. He was returning to Federation Medical Command with human training protocols and enough medical technology to outfit 5 hospitals. "They are letting me keep all of it," he said, still amazed. "I kept asking about payment, and they kept saying that healthy people are payment enough." They stood together, 4 aliens who had arrived broken and desperate, now leaving as ambassadors to a new age of cooperation. Director Liu found them eventually, carrying a thermal container of coffee that she distributed to everyone. "I am going to miss having you all on the station. Well, except you, Ralna. You are assigned here permanently now. You are stuck with us." "I think I can accept that fate," Ralna said, smiling. "Though I still do not understand why humans do any of this. You could have ignored us. You could have let the Federation handle its own problems. You could have built your fleets in secret and used them for your own purposes." "We could have," Liu agreed. "But that is not who we are. Earth made us survivors. We chose to be helpers. There is a difference." A notification appeared on Liu's communicator. She read it and her expression shifted to something between amusement and resignation. "Well, looks like we have another situation." "What kind of situation?" Ralna asked, already knowing she was not going to like the answer. "Long-range scouts picked up a distress call. Unknown species. Their ships are damaged. They are fleeing from something they call the Devourers, and they are heading towards Sol System because they heard rumors that Earth helps people in trouble." Brent laughed. "Your reputation is spreading, apparently." Liu finished her coffee and set down the cup. "I am going to need to prep more repair bays. Ralna, want to help coordinate the response?" "Do I have a choice?" "Not really. You are Earth's liaison now. This is literally your job." They walked together toward the command center where crews were already mobilizing. Because that was what Earth did. Someone showed up damaged and scared, and humans helped. Someone threatened the innocent, and humans fought. Someone needed hope, and humans provided it. The Meridian sat in its dock, fully repaired and upgraded, ready for whatever came next. Its crew was scattered across human facilities, learning and teaching and building friendships that would reshape the galaxy. And somewhere in deep space, ships fleeing an unknown horror were jumping toward Sol System, hoping desperately that the rumors were true. That Earth would help, that humans would care. They were about to discover the rumors were absolutely accurate. Earth helped. Earth protected. Earth remembered what it was like to be desperate. And Earth never ever abandoned anyone who needed them. Not on their watch.